Welcome to What's in the Box, episodes of horror with Donna and Eric. I'm Donna,
And I'm Eric.
and we are doing the book The Thief of Always by Clive Barker. Now I'm going to come right out and say it. I picked this book as our Christmas read, and it mentions Christmas, but doesn't. It's not really a Christmas book. Um, so finding Christmas books that aren't contemporary is kind of hard. And basically, what I had done was just hit Google and put in Christmas horror books, and this was one of the ones that came up. Um, so it does mention Christmas, so I guess technically we could call it a Christmas book. Um, but I know Eric,
This
you would message me and you're like, I don't see how it's about dealing with Christmas, and I'm like, well, yeah,
it's Die Hard Christmas.
yeah, yeah,
So it's Christmas. It's mentioned, just like
yeah,
in Die Hard. So
yeah.
um yeah, no, it's what'd you think?
I liked it. I believe this one is technically YA.
Hmm.
um, which is fine. It's the first time I've ever read it. I think this is my fourth Clive Barker book that I've ever read. Um, and I really liked it. And, basically the premise is there's this kid, he's bored, and he ends up going to this house where it's like it starts off in the morning with spring, and then early afternoon it turns into summer, and then it goes into fall. They celebrate Halloween, and then it ends on Christmas.
And they have
Um,
Thanksgiving.
and
They're
Thanksgiving.
fed.
Yep, yep,
So it
yep,
does
they
have three
do.
of the holidays.
Yep. Um, and there was a couple other kids there, and yeah, I thought it was a decent read. I read through it pretty fast.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not, I mean, it's Clive Barker, so it's not bad in that
yeah,
way. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was rushed. I felt like he wrote it like he didn't think a YA audience would have the patience
yeah,
for a little more depth. And so it's just like this skimming the surface.
mhm,
And he missed out on some opportunities where he could have been more horrific in some of the elements. It's very fantasy. And I know you said that he has written some fantasy stuff.
yeah,
So I'm like, well, maybe if we read some of the fantasy stuff, I can see the bridge. But this is only the second Clive Barker I've read. And so for me, we had the Hellbound Heart, and then we go to this, and
yeah.
I felt like this pales.
Oh yeah,
But
for sure.
like you said, it reads fast. It has a very interesting premise. I was explaining to Dawn what it was about just a second ago, and she says that sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, the premise is great, but I don't know if I enjoyed the execution as much as I might have if I read this as a YA, as a child or a younger person. I don't know. There was something I'm ambivalent towards it. I am so very shruggy today, and I'm just wondering if that energy is coming through. But I'm just like, I finished and I blew through this because I was done with this, I think, first, which
Yeah, I
never
think you,
happens.
yeah, I think you were done with it. But that's partly due to me like trying to get all my Christmas reads in
Oh
and
no, that's totally, and then
yeah.
you should, because you're always waiting for me. You should wait to the end, but it's shocking if I ever finish first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
I
think it
did.
wasn't too long either. I think it was just about 200 pages, maybe under.
Yeah, it felt like it was under, and it felt like we got to. So, like, none of the other children ever questioned what was going on like the main character does.
Yeah.
So they're there for, I mean, ever before the new kid kind of
Harvey.
Harvey gets them to think that maybe it's not a good thing that they're there.
Yeah.
Which I get that. I mean, kids are different and stuff, but I don't know. It just felt like we were rushed. It didn't feel like we got to enjoy some of the creepier characters, like the brothers.
Rictus, Jive, Karna was the monster, and then Mar was the sister.
And they gave us like little bits and enough to, kind of make you interested, but nothing to make you. I guess the problem is I didn't connect with anything, so I didn't care one way or the other with the kids. I didn't care one way or the other with the people in the house. I didn't really care about the house.
Yeah.
So it was just very odd because he knows what he's doing. Now, I did read a thing saying that they made a comic book of this, which I thought, well, that visually, I think this would really be stunning. And
Yeah,
I really thought that it needed to be a movie or a show because I
right.
bet you this would be amazing as an HBO show
Yep.
and a little more filler inside to kind of give us some chances to bond with the characters and stuff. But I noticed that he had signed a deal in the 90s to do a movie, an animated movie, but that never came. I don't remember that ever coming to be, so I assume it didn't. So,
Yeah.
but the idea behind it's very cool. They do mention Christmas. They do get some Christmas presents and that kind of stuff. The idea of them getting everything they wish for at such a young age and one of them being disenchanted with it, which I thought
Hmm.
that's kind of an interesting thing to go with. Um, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm just
Yeah.
kind of we read it and I'm not like, oh, this isn't the Jack Frost of literature. So it's fine. But at the same time, I wasn't blown away by it. And I was kind of hoping or thinking I would be because, he's a good
It's
writer.
Clive Barker, yeah. Yeah, I didn't connect to the characters. And the first time I felt any bit of emotion towards any of the characters was at the very end where Harvey, I won't say meets up with Lulu again, um, but Lulu shows up and she's an old woman.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
that's a good
yeah,
there's so many, it's just like it's almost like there's too many jump cuts,
yeah,
because he obviously within the tale itself, he's bonded with this character enough that he's willing to sacrifice everything. In fact, she's probably the reason why he is against the house and why he starts to think that maybe it isn't a good idea that they take everything and stay there and wants to escape. But we don't get enough of their interaction to feel the same way that he does about her.
yeah,
And
because
so,
it's very minimal. And the character of Lulu is very like separate. So the person he interacts with the most is Wendell. Like Wendell and him are like best buds, and Lulu, I find it hard to believe that he like fell as hard for Lulu as he did because she kept to herself and then she disappeared and he found her and she was turning into a fish to go live in the lake and then she was gone.
you think that was punishment of the house that all the kids turned into fish at some point eventually? Or
I
do you think
think
that was her
so.
special punishment? Because I couldn't quite tell.
I thought that that's what eventually happens to them because Lulu had been there way longer. Because Wendell was just a few years older
Hmm.
than Harvey, but Lulu had been like a significant amount of age older because Harvey
Yes.
was like, I don't know, 12 or something. And when he ran into her at the end, she was in her 60s or 70s.
Right. So if he's 12, she's probably 15, 16.
Yeah.
And I get that. So then you got that crushing kind of vibe, which you get in there, where he's kind of she's mysterious and older, and she's got these quirky little things she likes, and so he likes her because of all that stuff. And he's at that age where that's going to start kind of happening. But boy, Wendell is written, even though he's older, he's written to be younger.
Hmm.
His personality, sorry, is like an 8-year old.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, is that because he's been trapped in this house with the continual cycle of getting everything he wants and never having the need to grow up or to adapt or do any of the other stuff? I don't know if that's the case, and maybe he came in younger than Wendell. But Wendell comes in younger than Harvey did, so maybe that's why he's stuck in that age.
Yeah.
For
Maybe.
as even though, but although they don't age in the place, so if he came, so he obviously came in older, right? Because he's already older. Or is
Yeah.
it that he's not older, but that he's from a farther away, like
A
a
farther away
different,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
generation. He's a different generation.
Yeah. So he has been there
I don't
longer.
know. It just feels
Yeah.
like they could have been clearer, and maybe it was clear. I don't know, but I didn't get it. I didn't pick up on
Yeah.
it, and I thought that seemed weird because he knows. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's done some stuff that's really intricate and very layered, and this felt like we didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
But again, 90s YA, I'm kind of, that wasn't my my spot. I was already
Yeah.
an adult, so I'm thinking maybe that's 90s YA, and so he's kind of more mirroring what they were asking them to do for that kind of audience.
Yeah. And this
Um,
could have been like his first YA. I'm not really sure. Or maybe I think this might be his only YA
yeah, I
that
don't
he's ever
know.
written.
Yeah. In fact, I didn't
And
even know he'd written a YA. And maybe I've seen this cover, and maybe I've seen this title, but I had really never. This doesn't ever like if I'm going through Clive Barker, I could name a couple things, and I could
yeah,
say, oh, even if I'm just attaching them to movies, and be like, oh, well, this movie was inspired by one of his stories, and this is back and forth.
yeah,
This never once ever has been on my radar. Now, if they would have
yeah.
made the movie, then yeah, it probably would have because it sounded like it was going to be animated, and this would have been really cool as a movie.
Oh, for sure. I
And
love,
and I was going to say, and don't you think maybe it was written that way? Maybe it's written for the screen because it does have that pacing where we
yep,
don't have all the information and it's kind of fast. And this feels like it would have been an hour and a half movie.
yeah, yeah.
So
I really like, there were a few parts that I liked. Like, I liked the part where Harvey was turned into the vampire bat.
yeah, that was really cool. And it
That
gave
was
us this
really
potential
cool.
of all these things
Yeah,
that they could do. But at the same time, I don't know, it just almost, when it was said and done, it felt like Harvey kind of regretted it because of how much damage it did to Wendell's psyche, because Wendell really
hmm,
freaked out about it.
yeah, he did.
But the
And I,
magic of the whole place was fun. That was a fun little thing and allowed Harvey to kind of I know it had to have let Harvey feel older, more mature after being made fun of for a period of time or jokingly kind of joshed with um, by Wendell because Wendell knew more about what was going
yeah,
on at the place. So I know they do write that in there where Harvey does kind of feel insecure about everything. And then this allowed him to be the gotcha guy.
yeah,
But at the end, I felt like he immediately regretted it. Like he felt really bad for Wendell after they did the thing.
yeah.
So,
And the whole way that the house, Mr. Hood was handled, where he was like in the attic and then he saw that the house was actually Mr. Hood.
mhm.
And then they, at when Hood came up out of the ground, he was built from the house, and the way he was described with broken shards of the mirrors for his teeth and or his eyes. I thought that was really interesting. And yeah, if this had
Yeah.
been an animated movie, that would have been amazing to see.
Yeah. A lot of the visuals would have translated perfectly into television or a movie,
Yeah.
especially a movie back then. Now everything's TV. So, or streaming, however you want to word it. But yeah, no, I could see it being something pretty cool. All the bones are there.
Mhm.
I just don't know if we got everything. And that's a good thing too, though. I mean, it was a nice quick read. So if you're looking for something fun like that, I think it's entertaining and a lot of and it's not hardcore. So
Right.
maybe you don't want to dive into some of his darker, more violent, more sexual stuff. This is a perfect representation of the exact opposite.
Right.
And he did it. It's I don't know. I'm sure there are some people that will think this is the greatest thing ever. So
Yeah,
it just
for
depends on
sure.
the kind of vibe you're looking for and the stuff you're going with.
Yeah.
I mean, I really feel like they missed on an opportunity. This would have been a cool thing to watch.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, I know you sent a bunch of covers, and this looks like it might be the audiobook
Yeah,
version.
audio cassette.
Yeah, cassettes.
So
Oh my
that's
gosh.
how old school this is. I don't know if I mean I still have some of my little cassette packs. And then what's funny is this it doesn't say it, so I assume this is the non unabridged version. But
Yeah.
in the old days, you would get cassettes and they would cut out chunks of the story so they could fit them on the cassettes. And you might get I've got some Wheel of Time stuff where it's on one book is on four cassettes, and you're like, I know half this book's not here. So it's
Yeah.
like the highlights of it,
Yeah.
So that's something they used to do in the 80s and 90s, where they would give you parts of the book and nothing, or you'd get 37 cassettes, and so
Yeah.
you better hope you don't lose one of those guys.
Yeah. Then we have this one here, which
This feels very current comic booky, and
comic booky. Yeah.
I did notice in something that somebody said that they did release some sort of comic series or graphic novel kind of thing. So
Yeah.
maybe this has to do with that. It's interesting. I don't see the house like this at all, though.
Yeah, no, no. Now this is the cover that you see a lot in books of horror. Um,
And that's cool too, because it
yeah,
pays homage to the vampire bat.
yep,
And but if I saw this and I know and I heard vampire, I would probably think this is a story about a kid that lost his um, childhood by by being a vampire or something
yeah,
like that, and then I would have really been disappointed.
yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
this is a cool cover. This is a cover I think. No, is this the cover on the ebook too? This might be the cover on the ebook too. I don't know.
no, not the ebook I got anyways. This is probably the original paper. I think this is the original paperback
Well, it's a cool
cover.
cover. I mean, it
Yeah,
definitely it's spooky and it's got Clive Barker in the classic Clive Barker font that you used to see in the bookstores and the shelves and stuff.
yeah. And I think this is a good cover, but I think if I were to see this next to like a Magica and Great and Secret Show and Cabal, I would be like, oh, this is going to be a Clive Barker. And it is a Clive Barker, but it's not the Clive Barker you're expecting.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, it's pushing those two books. And so now after reading Thief of Always, I would think those two books were tamer, but I don't think they are, right? They're more of
Um,
his normal stuff.
yeah, I've not read a Magica, but I have read The Great and Secret Show, and it is definitely not tamer than this.
Yeah. So,
This is the cover that I had. I got it on Kindle. Um,
okay.
and this is the cover that I have. And I think this
This
is
must be the new
representing
one
the,
because it says Audible on there.
yeah. Um, but this must be the lake because you remember how he described how the
Yeah.
stones around the lake were slippery and mossy. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that's a cool. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing something like this animated in this style. This would be a really good thing to have with the story, but the cover itself, so far we haven't seen a cover yet that make me feel like I need to buy it and read this book.
yeah. The only one that would make me think is this one, but only because it looks like the covers of all of his other books. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah, that's
they,
the closest
yeah.
to being right.
And I don't think that they should have done that because it's not representative of what the book actually is. Even though it has the vampire back on it, it's
Mhm.
not representative as it being a YA book.
Yeah, that's
Could you imagine going and thinking, oh, this is YA, so I'm going to grab this, but oh, I'm going to also grab The Great and Secret Show for my kid.
yeah, they're probably not even in the same spot.
Yeah,
If this is YA, it's across the building.
yeah,
They don't really put them together. So that makes me wonder in the old days. I mean, when it came out, Clive Barker was huge. So I'm sure it was its own display case, its own,
yeah,
cardboard display thing with the four windows that you put the books in, and you have the big cutout that goes on top of it, and it's right up there by the front desk or wherever you check out. Um, but I wonder where it is now if you go look for it. I wonder if it is in the YA or if it's over there with horror.
yeah,
That'd be interesting. Next time I go to Barnes and Noble, I'll have to go look to see if they have a copy.
yeah.
Although, I mean, he used Clive Barker, so obviously he wants his normal fans to get into it. So,
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. And I've not really ever seen anybody say anything bad about this book. I think if you're a fan of Clive Barker, you're going to be a fan of The Thief of Always.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
it's fine. Like,
yeah,
it's a fantasy book. It's got some interesting ideas. It's well written. It's a quick read, but it's nothing groundbreaking.
yeah, for sure not.
And maybe is it because this was written in the 90s and where we are now and we've read so much different things and seen so many different shows and stuff that it doesn't feel fresh? Because
Yeah,
some of it does feel like I've seen it or read it before, the ideas of it,
yeah,
But I don't know if that's the case or if it's just simply because, like I said, it doesn't feel like it's complete. It feels like it's missing something. This
yeah,
is a cool cover, but I definitely would think this is more of a haunted house or,
yep,
and I'd be thinking, I mean, maybe even some Hellraiser kind of stuff, vibes coming off of it a little bit, just thinking of where they might have opened a gateway to another place kind of situation. So I like this
yeah,
cover, but I wonder, you know, when this one was and how long it got to be the cover.
yeah. And it cracks me up that they mentioned the Hellbound Heart on this. Because again, you give this to your teen, and they're like, "Oh, mom, can you get me the Hellbound Heart?" Like I've never read Mr. Begone, but we've read the Hellbound Heart. It's
Yeah,
definitely
it's
not for
definitely not.
children.
Now this is cool. The little sticker button says it's got illustrations from Barker
Oh,
inside the book. So maybe he had that'd be pretty cool.
yeah,
Because there was they were in the ebook, but they were tiny at the end, like
yeah,
punctuators, and those were always kind of cool. So I thought, I mean, that's a nice vibe to throw in with the kids' book or something, or a YA. But yeah, no, it'd be kind of cool to see if they were bigger or more intricate in this. I'd like to see a copy of the paperback and see what's going on, or maybe this
yeah,
was a hardcover. I don't know,
yeah, yeah. I did like the little illustrations. Obviously, if they were bigger, it would have because I read it on Kindle. Um,
but we
the
could have
one
blown
that
it up.
really
But nothing ever made me feel like blowing it up. I just go into the next page. So.
Yeah, the only illustration that really caught me that I was like, wow, that's kind of cool is right after the scene where Jive eats the food and he starts blowing dust because, of course, the whole premise
Mhm.
is everything is an illusion. It's all dust or ash. Um, and the image was like of a mouth open and like ash coming out. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Um,
I wonder if those were all the ones that he did. That'd be kind of interesting to know. I'm sure they are, though. I can't
yeah,
imagine they filled it with other people's illustrations. So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
no, that definitely would be one that stood out. I think there was one with the fish
Yep.
that was interesting, and uh, there was one with her as kind of the monster
Yeah.
that right after when she didn't want him to see what she looked like, but she had recovered his arc, some of the
Yeah, his
figures from his
toys from
arc.
the art. Yeah.
So,
Um, yeah.
it I guess you could say it was kind of a kids needful things had that
Mm-hmm.
vibe to it, and so the old story of the devil in the shop granting all your wishes kind of situation. It's kind of that the house, being represented by the devil or whatever, or vice
Yeah.
versa. So this,
And
so far,
it,
this is my favorite cover,
yeah. Oh yeah, I like this cover the best, besides the one with the bat. Um,
and this feels, it's kind of has a gothic vibe.
yeah.
There was a time when all the covers looked like this too. So this probably was like 2010 maybe. I
Yeah.
felt like
And
that
it's,
there was a lot of covers cut in half where you got the picture on one half and then words on the other half. And
yeah, yeah, I've definitely seen this style before. It's actually giving me vibes of like, I swear I've seen a Dracula
oh, I'm sure we
cover like
have. Yeah.
this. So I don't know what publishing company this is from, but I think it might be a company that like took all these books and put their own
Yeah.
unique cover on it.
I mean, it
um
screams penguin.
Penguin, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So maybe that's what it is. We'd have to do a little deeper dive. I only looked at the covers, and copied the ones I thought. Well, I actually copied all the ones I found.
yeah,
And then there was some illustrations. Like I said, oh look, this is like comics, and I didn't hadn't read the note about it being a comic yet. But when I tried to download those, it wouldn't let me even open them to look at them. So I was like,
yeah,
okay, they must be protected or something. So
yeah,
I didn't want to mess with it, so I just did the covers. But the artwork they did in the comic looked really cool, and I wouldn't mind hunting this down as a comic and checking it out. And then, you know what kind of vibe it gives you with the comic? It was oh, what's that Joe Hill thing that became a show about the house and the keys? It has that vibe to it. I'm sure everybody that is yelling about it. Lock and Key. Lock and
Lock and
Key.
Key. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was a comic book Joe Hill wrote. It's got the same kind of, it had the same kind of vibe to it.
okay.
So,
Yeah. I've not read anything or by Joe Hill, so
well, we are going to fix that next year.
yes, yeah. The only piece that I was kind of not confused about that I kind of missed, like you said, there seemed to be things missing, which was fine. It still read like a complete story, but at the end, um, the spheres that Hood ate, which I assumed were souls of children, but it
Mhm.
wasn't really explained what they were and why were some turned into fish and why were some turned into these spheres for him to eat.
I wonder if maybe fish don't have souls, so when they turn them into fish, he gets their souls
He gets
separate
their
from the
soul.
body.
Oh, yeah,
That
maybe.
could be. I mean, I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
guessing. That's what he's doing,
Yeah.
something like that. And then,
Yeah, that
and
could
that
be.
allows once they break the spell and the spheres are broke, then the spirit or soul returns to the fish, and then the girl gets to be the girl again, and she comes out of the water, and he helps her get outside the the misty wall.
Yeah.
Boy, everything about this screams a really cool movie, really cool TV
Hmm.
show, and like I said, I'm not upset that we read it. I think it was a fun way to end the year. It
Yeah.
said Christmas in it. It's We're never going to top the first Christmas book we did.
No.
So,
No.
um, but every year we're going to try. Same with Halloween. So I think that's fun. So,
Yeah.
um,
I just
but
think I'm glad we're planning ahead for next year because just unless we want to start reading like more contemporary, more indie horror, like it is hard to find Christmas without finding because you can find like a ton of like Victorian Christmas story like collections,
mhm.
you know. Um, but those we've already done a Christmas Carol and that's Victorian.
Yeah, I don't think we need to really revisit the
Yeah.
same. We don't need to revisit all the hacks trying to capture the magic of a Christmas Carol
Yeah.
at the same time of a Christmas Carol. So,
Yeah.
um, no,
I
I
did
mean,
find a few that were from like the 80s and 90s, but trying to find copies of those books. It's like,
yeah, it's funny what makes it to Kindle and what doesn't, because you would think
yeah,
everything would be. And I had that same problem with music because I had lost or sold some CDs when I got to the point when I was going to get rid of some media. And then I realized they're not on streaming services anymore, or those specific CDs. So now I'm out of luck. I don't have the CD, and I can't find anywhere to stream.
yeah,
So it's made me start to slowly start searching for some of this media and collecting stuff like the movies and some of the books. When we stumble across them at Half Price Books or any other used bookstore. And the people that are really lucky to find them at Goodwill, in lots of 100, and they're like, "Oh, look what I found."
yeah,
I was like, I'd be lucky to find a book.
yeah,
And they find like every single classic book that everybody's talking about and wants. They find them at library sales and stuff, and my library won't carry anything. So,
yeah. Yeah, I always think about going to library sales and I'm like, I'll never find anything like,
although you and I well, not unique, I don't think, because I always say people in horror read everything, but you and I really do read a lot of different genres. So the
yeah,
last library sale I went to, I ended up finding 15 or 16 Agatha Christie novels I'd never read. So I picked those up for $1 a piece. So that
nice.
was a pretty cool thing. But yeah, going for horror, I struck out. So,
Yeah,
um, but that's the cool thing about and everybody should do it. Read your horror, but also go out and read your other stuff. I mean, everybody says that, but you really should do it. You should read other different genres, different styles, different age.
yep,
Less shooting at this YA. It was for what it was good. Didn't blow my socks off, but
yeah,
I
for
was
sure.
probably expecting more just simply for the name, but that's my fault for not being so well versed with Clive Barker. We really need to fix that next year too. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I definitely, like I said, this was only my fourth Clive Barker book. I know I'm a bad Barker fan because I really am, but I got stuck on years of Cabal
mhm.
because I'm in love with Nightbreed, and then I just realized Nightbreed was based on a book, so I read the book, and that was like my favoriteest Clive Barker book. And then I didn't pick up another one until we did Hellbound Heart when we started doing What's in the Box, because I think that was like our first book,
That was our
right?
first one. Yep.
Yeah,
We did that book and the movie came out.
yeah,
So we did the original movie and then I think a month later we did the remake movie.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, no, it's fun that that's our first one. So,
yeah. But yeah, it's
but
a book. It wasn't bad. It
yeah,
kept me entertained. It made me want to keep reading it. I didn't want to be like, oh, this sucks.
I will recommend it now on the group chats or the group posts or whatever, however you want to call them. When somebody's looking for a book for a younger reader,
Hmm.
what's a book we can, a horror book that we can give my daughter or my son or my nephew or whatever. This will definitely be one I suggest
Yeah,
because it definitely has some aspects, and I think it would entertain a younger reader, and I don't think it's overboard that the adults would be upset that they shared it with the kid.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
I
like
think
when
it
we
was,
were kids and people put Stephen King in our hands at 8 and said, "Go be
yeah.
quiet and go read this." So
Yeah, go read this 1,000-page book, you know?
yeah. So, but yeah,
Um,
no, for sure, I will definitely start recommending this for young readers looking to
yeah.
get into horror or people that want to get their children or their relatives into horror. So
And it'd be good for someone who is newer to reading horror or is not a fan of a lot of gore and like like if they don't like possessions and demons and all that kind of stuff, because even though they
yeah,
called Hood like a demon, like he wasn't really, he was just like this
yeah,
thing.
he was a vampire, really.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, he
vampire.
was
Yeah,
a
because they
vampire,
started
but
calling him the Vampire King.
yeah, because he stole their youth, not their life force, I guess, because they
Yeah,
didn't steal their youth because they stayed young. He steals whatever they're supposed to become.
yeah,
But yeah, no, this is this, and you know what? I'm gonna if people say I like Clive Barker or not Clive Barker, if they say they like Bradbury, I'll be like, okay, here's a
yeah,
contemporary. This is somebody you need to be reading. Somebody came way after Bradbury, but has that. This book has that style. This
yeah.
made me think of the Halloween Tree and
Hmm.
Something Wicked. So,
Yeah,
um, but yeah,
yeah.
overall, I mean, I'm not blown away. I'm 4 stars. Because I'm not. This wasn't terrible, but it
We've read worse.
yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, and we finished it without any problems, and um, you know, if there was some more out there, I'd be interested to kind of know more about it. I'd almost be more interested in reading a book about him talking about writing this book, just kind of see
Yeah,
where he was mentally and stuff, and where he was trying, what his goal was. Because if this was a reason, if this was him trying to get into animation or him trying to get into TV, you know what I mean? This almost could be that. It's like, hey, here's my idea. I think you can make a movie out of this, and he just
yeah,
writes it, and they put it out as a book. Because he's so big at the time. At that time in the '90s, I mean, he was the guy that they talked to lockstep with King. It
yep,
was King and Barker. They were the two that you needed to read if you liked horror.
yeah,
Um, which is why it's so interesting to see Barker's path about how he kind of stepped into the movie stuff and he's produced these amazing movies that I don't think gets near enough love. And that'll probably be something we talk about next year too. So that'll be
yeah.
fun.
Yep. So definitely give it a read. I mean, it's not your typical Barker, but it's worth reading in my opinion. Um,
Yeah, for sure. And this would be a good one if you wanted to read it with your kids at the same time,
yeah,
like maybe at night, read it to them. There's nothing in this that I would think would traumatize any children, especially if they're with a parent that is horror backgroundy, whatever, however you want
yeah,
to word
yeah.
it. So
A horror loving.
they're already gonna know about Jason and Freddy and Art and all that nonsense.
Yeah,
This is so much chill. This is chill compared to that. And then you could kind of introduce them to the other side, the
yeah.
quieter side of it all.
Yeah, and as soon as you said Bradbury, it clicked in my mind. I'm like, you're right. This is totally Bradbury-esque. Maybe
Yeah,
that's what he
yeah.
was going for.
And that might
Maybe,
be, and it could be an homage, and that's cool
yeah,
too. He hit it. He definitely struck a chord. Like I said, I just wish it was a little more in depth. A little more. We needed a little bit more backstory on some of those characters, and maybe a little bit more time of Harvey in the actual house and the place, so that we kind of feel the weight of the situation. I just felt like we rushed through that story part. So
yeah. Definitely needed more background on Hood, Mr. Hood. So,
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So this is our last recording of 2025. It'll be Christmas next week, and we've got a lot of good stuff planned for next year. Eric has got us on, decided we're gonna map out a schedule for the year,
Yeah, we're gonna
and
have a fun thing, and we're gonna have
yeah,
more open with some of the people that interact or want to interact on social media. So we're gonna try and do a little bit more there too.
yep, so yeah. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next year.
Take it easy.